Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This has been a very exciting episode. We've been talking with our friend Sarah, who's in Nairobi. And boy, you just have such a broad array of interesting things to talk about. I'm going to hand this over to Trina. She's going to introduce you, Sarah, and then we're just going to take it from there.
Well, one of my privileges of belonging to this international women's movement called the Grail is getting to know someone like Sarah. Over there in Kenya, Sarah speaks perfect English and she communicates beautifully. And I think it's a wonderful series. And she's ready to take it away today. I haven't even seen all this or heard all the things she wants to say about the subject. I think it's about water. Is that correct, Sarah? This is about water today?
So thank you very much for giving me a chance to talk about water again. And I'm still talking about what I encountered with some young women in South Africa. That is last week. While I was there, I realized that deep in the village, they have, when we talk about water here, it's women who are concerned about water in this particular village of KwaZulu Natal. What normally happens is the girls, the young girls and the women are the ones who take care of the water and make sure that the community and the families have clean water and they have enough water at the same time. I visited when it was a bit dry, and so that meant that some of the gardens that they had needed some water. These women and girls would be the ones fetching water from the river and having this water in their gardens. But at least things have changed from what they were telling me. I met this group of young girls. They are called WLTP Group of Girls, Women Leadership Program. And one of the activities they involve themselves in is ensuring that it's not just water that they're having, but they have clean water. So through this program, they have an initiative of testing and ensuring that they have clean water. So they are in collaboration with the municipality there, and they've been allowed to test this water. The water they test is from one big river, which is the only source of water around the KwaZulu Natal. The river is called Kwamzulu. That is a Zulu name, meaning the big river. Okay, this water is shared among animals and human beings. And so you can imagine if animals and human beings are sharing the same water, and then that means that contamination is very high. So what these girls do, they always go to the river every week to test the water and try to educate the community to protect this water because it's the only source of water around. Sometimes back from what they were telling me is that some women would even throw some diapers in this water, some garbages in water, and yet they're using the same water. But when they started taking care of the water and testing it, at least they educated the community around, and the community now has joined them to protect the water. So when they go there, they're interested in knowing the hardness of the water. That is one of the things that they test, whether the water is hard or it's soft. And whether it's alkaline, they test the alkalinity of the water as well. They also test the chlorine and the nitrates of that particular water. So when they get that there's some contamination in that water, they liaise with the municipality to come and now treat this water. From what they were telling me, they collect this information on a monthly basis so that after every 3 months, they take their report to the municipality. And if there is any contamination, now the municipality has to come in and treat this water. And they've been doing this for the last 10 years. That is what they told me. And the girls are the ones who are largely involved because according to their traditions, girls are the ones who are supposed to ensure that there is clean water. So is there anything maybe you need me to explain more about this water or something?
I think that one of the thoughts we have about other countries, and it was true in Egypt when I was there, that women were carrying pots on their head. As a group, they would walk to the water source and then get the pots and carry them back on their heads. Do the women carry, how do they get the water from the river to their homes? They same way, they carry it in various containers?
Some years back, from what they were telling me, they would carry that water on their heads as well in containers. But the municipality was good enough. They were able to connect this water to homes through some large pipes. So every 5 homes share one pipe of water in the neighborhood. From that, the municipality connected these pipes from the river to their homes. They no longer carry the water on their head, so they just fetch it from home. But they have to go to the river every week to find out if the water is still safe for them to use it at home, because this is the same water that they drink, their animals also drink. They use it for watering their crops, their vegetables. And so they just have to make sure that they keep on testing it. So they no longer carry the water on their heads, but they make sure that they go to the river to look at the well-being of the river, because it's a source of water there.
One of the things we have here in this country, the problem with pesticides and insecticides affecting our water. It runs off. They put it on the plants, they put it on the gardens. It's not necessary. It's better to use compost or manure and safer, and it doesn't run off the same way. So do you have the same problem there, that people contaminated with the chemicals?
From what I saw, considering that most of these girls and women are practicing agroecology, chemicals are not so much. But of course, we have a few farmers who are still using chemicals and fertilizers. Farmers' land are actually very close to the river. And once in a while, they would get some contamination of fertilizers and chemicals in that water. But they still keep on educating the community and encouraging the community, especially those doing farming, to make use of manure and compost and farmyard instead of the chemicals. But there are a few cases of those also still use the chemicals and the fertilizers along that very river, because most of the land for the communities there go up to the river. So some people would feel that this land, especially that is very close to the river, can be used to grow some vegetables close to the river. But the problem is that now they're using chemicals and they use fertilizers as well. But the education goes on.
You mentioned that the girls test the water. Could you describe a little bit in terms of what the tests are like? How do they test it?
And they also have water testing kits. The program of WLTP has bought these kits for testing water. And so when they go there, they collect like 5 different samples of water, and then they use a syringe to take this water and use, is it a litmus paper? Something like a litmus paper. To now, they put this water on that particular paper, and this paper has different colors. So these different colors will be able to tell if the acidity, the nitrate, the alkaline of that water is high. There's a way in which the colors on the paper will turn, and they'll be able to know that this one means high acidity in water. This one means that the water is okay, depending on how the colors on that paper will change. One of the things they have is a bottle. The other one is a syringe. And the other one is a testing kit. And that paper, I'm not sure if it's a litmus paper, but it's a paper that has so many colors on it. After collecting that paper, they just pour some of this water on that paper and wait for like 30 minutes to see the results. And after 30 minutes, you will see the colors on that paper starting to change. And that means that you can now get your results to determine whether the water is clean or it's contaminated. And these colors are the ones that now tell if the water is either acidity or it's hard or it's alkaline or it's even soft. or it's contaminated. Sometimes there are colors that turn black. If part of the color turns too black, that means that water is not even sweet for consumption. So they have to involve the municipality at this level to treat it immediately.
So you say it takes 30 minutes. That's a pretty long time. What do they do while they're waiting for the test to finish up?
The Zulu people, in as much as they are westernized, they've tried to keep some of their cultures. Like when they're testing water, they consider this as work. And so they have what they call work songs and work dances. So while they wait for these results, they're dancing, they're singing, or they're playing. So we were not able to play together, but at least we were able to dance and sing. And they have this common dance where they stamp their legs on the ground while they are singing, and they do it in turns. So every girl or every participant who has gone to test the water has to take a turn in dancing, and the singing is done together. So there's a soloist and the others respond, and then they dance by stamping their legs down on the ground so hardly. And I wanted to know why. And they said the stamping of their legs on the ground so hardly is connecting with the ancestors and telling them that they are still taking care of the land. That is what they told me. And then they also have a high kick. And these are the ladies. For us here, when a lady is dancing and they do a high kick, like how they do it, maybe it would be considered, but for them, the higher you kick your leg as a woman, it shows how strong you are. So this is a common Zulu dance, and they would dance and sing while they are working. So while we were waiting for the results, we were able to sing and we danced. They don't only do that while working. I remember even the family that accommodated me at night was singing while they were cooking, preparing dinner. They would sing and still dance and kick their legs down on the ground to show their connection with their ancestors. And this was happening in a small round hut that is grass thatched. And every home there must have a small round hut in the home. And they say this hut is meant for rituals. And actually, their rituals means just talking to the ancestors. And so everything, even this dance, is about talking to the ancestors and showing how strong you are and the connection with land.
What is the group that sponsors this? Is this the government? Who is it?
This is, I think, the group that sponsors this is an NGO. They call themselves Women Leadership Training Program. Is an organization that is non-governmental. And from what I learned is that this organization has been there for the last 40 years. It was started by some Grail members. But the reason why they started it was meant to protect the girls, empower women and girls, and educate even girls and women on their rights, and help the Zulu girls get to know more about the rights of women, health of women, and agroecology, because they don't only test water. The other thing they do is birding. They also go in small forests around and parks to study the birds and the importance of having birds around in the community, and the types of birds and how they should protect the birds. They told me before they started that program, they realized that boys would kill birds. They had to introduce the topic of birding so that they protect the birds rather than killing them, and know how the birds contribute to our being, like the pollination and everything.
Well, that sounds like you had a wonderful trip there in South Africa. I'm glad for you.
It was actually wonderful, considering that all these women who are doing all these things are young women, and primary means they're between the ages of 7 to around 13 or 15 there.
This is like the third or fourth, maybe even more times that you've been with us to talk about what you're doing. And You've got just such a broad scope of interest, and it's rural, it's urban, it's in different countries, it's with girls. It's just a real pleasure having you here. Thank you, Sarah. Really appreciate it. Any final words, Trina?
No, it's a way for world peace to share it like this. And I'm glad we have the chance to do it. And thank you, Scott, for facilitating it like you do.